Sometimes you'll be like, it doesn't even fit you. You know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
It is not consistent with your person.
Yeah.
So as a man who is struggling with being um being dominant should not even be in the picture.
Yeah.
It is not about dominance. The moment you think you want to dominate in your home, you
Leadership
have
is not
missed
about
it.
dominance. Yeah.
Yeah, you have missed it.
Yeah.
So we are talking about you being a leader and being seen as a simp. I've also said remove what you should focus yourself is how do I become a better leader?
Mm.
One, remove dominance. You are not nobody's dominant in the house. Everybody is in a safe space to express themselves within the confines of what is right.
Mm.
Everybody
Great.
is
I like that.
supporting everybody.
Mm.
So in my home, if you come to my home now, for example, and you see me doing certain things, and you think that it is my wife that should be doing them, then I'll ask you, to what extent should I support her?
Mm.
To what extent should I be of support to this woman?
Mm.
Because the moment you decide to be a support, that is where it starts.
Mm.
And then create a safe space. How do you create a safe space? These are things you learned in mentorship. You learn from
Mm.
consistently listening to people. What do you listen to? Who do you listen to? Why do you listen to the people or the things you listen to? You must not live life like anything goes. You must be intentional.
Mm. Yeah.
There are rooms for, you can sleep, you can make mistakes, but mistake is mistake. It is something that is not consistent with your character. That is why it is a
Mm.
mistake. If you
Mm.
begin to live life like that, then it is no longer a mistake.
Consistently.
It is
Yeah.
consistent
That's
with
who
your
you are.
character. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's who you are.
Mm.
So if I am talking to people who are struggling with providing leadership in their home, it is because they do not know how to lead. That's why they are struggling. So I would tell them, identify the right sources to read and to listen to. I like the Bible a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, permit me to
Great.
say, I like the Bible a lot. The reason I like the Bible is because I believe that, like Pastor Chris will say, it is our manual for life. Everything is
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
People write, people write books. People counsel people about marriages. We have seen the biggest of counselors suffer breakups in their homes.
Yeah.
We have seen people who have written books on how to succeed in marriage, in business, fail in those aspects. But there's only one source you can really tap for. And then when you tap from it, the author of that source has never failed at any point in history, cannot fail. If you consistently tap from that source, your chances of getting it right will be high because it will keep you, it will make you behave well. When we are going to marry, we didn't really do this marriage counseling for long. It is a good thing to do, but our situation did not permit us to really have it. And then the church was like, no, you have to do it for 6 months. We don't date for 6 months. We never ever date for 6 months. How would they do counseling for 6 months? So we knew what we wanted. I
Mm.
was sure of who I am. I was sure of the things I know by the mercies of God. I was sure of how far I have come. I told my wife, I said, counseling is good, but I don't have that time. 6 months. What do you want to tell me? Why? Why would I subject myself to 6 months counseling?
Mm.
I did not see the reason to, especially because of our situation. I told my wife one thing. I said, you see this Bible, if we study it,
Mm.
and the Bible says, study to show thyself
It's not
approved.
approved.
If we study this Bible to show ourselves approved, worthy workmen, if we study
Mm.
this Bible very well and behave and function, if you function in your place as recommended by this book as a woman, if you function in your place, and I function in my place as a man, the instructions are clear. Woman submit, man love your wife. If you
Mm.
love your wife, the issue of dominance will disappear. If
Mm.
you love your wife, the issue of seeing you as a simp, there are many things you will do because you love your wife.
Mm.
Many things you will not do because you love your wife.
Mm.
So I recommend people to submit to the right people and consume the right materials. Today, thank God
Yeah.
for social medias. We can easily identify people to listen to on your social media space. I mean, some of us will so annotate on social media as well. So as much as there's toxicity in the social media space, there's also good and healthy content in the social media
Mm.
space. So you identify
Yeah.
these people, you are building a space now. I hope that young girls, young guys can come in, because these are the things we need to hear. We need
Mm.
to, and also submit to someone, be accountable to someone. For example, there are people I will not want my wife to report me to.
Mm.
Not because they will beat me, but only because they will say, you
Mm.
tell me you did not behave like that. I cannot
Mm.
stand it.
Mm.
I can't stand it. So I will caution myself, or caution myself by myself. So you do not want to be a man who submits to no one
Mm.
and let the success of your marriage, of your relationship be your priority. I
Yeah.
will say this last thing before I leave. There's a man who is supposed to be like a father figure to me. The man, he he thrives in his own glory, in the sense that his law is word, his word is his law. He
Mm.
does not regard men. And I, yeah, he doesn't regard nobody. And then his children, they know him like
Now
that.
the unjust judge be that.
Yeah,
Unjust
they,
judge.
yeah, they know him like that. I know him like that. So he looked at me one day because he was expecting me to be like that with my wife. And he's someone whose wife doesn't have an opinion. As in, if he is upset with someone, the wife must be upset with that person as well. If she is not upset with the person, she's in serious trouble. It's a serious thing. This is what I'm telling you. And then he looked at me one day because he was expecting me to be in a particular situation. And he said to me, he said, you are just allowing your wife to control you. I looked at him in his eyes, a man that is like, he's almost 70 or thereabout. I looked at him in his eyes. I said, sir, nobody controls me. Nobody. I identify what is right and I do it regardless of what anybody thinks. Whether he thinks, yeah. I said, I am telling you now so that you will know that whatever I am doing is my decision.
Mm-hmm.
If you think because it goes the way of my wife, most times that it is my wife that is influencing or controlling, no, it is
No.
the right thing I am doing.
Mm.
It is the right thing I am doing. I
Mm.
remember back
And
then,
I'm
Nigeria,
convicted. Yeah.
when we had one car, right? I will give my wife the car key and enter public bus to go to work. Why? Because her one job required her to move around. She was a manager of many branches. So she will move around overseeing branches and all of that. When in my own work, I just go to the office and sit down. So what is fair to me is easing her movement by allowing her take the car. So
Mm.
sometimes I'll be like, okay, let's go to my office, get to work, and then you take the car and then you come and pick me.
Mm.
Just create a balance. That is what being a man is about. Create a balance. Not you alone. You must minimize stress. You must be a support. It is about being a support all round. It's about leading. So that is what it is about. I don't know how best to put it, but it all falls, rise and falls on leadership.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I want to give you a standing ovation.
Thank
You
you.
have literally ate and left no crumbs on this conversation. It might seem like, oh yes, because I'm a woman, it's in my favor, but I am
No,
not coming from the
that
point of me
that is
being a
what it
woman.
is.
I am coming from the point of the dysfunctionality that I've observed in relationships. And mainly because I have worked with families and I
Yeah,
really have a deep feeling and passion that when the family front, the people who are supposed to be in the family begin to take on, mental health resources. So when we talk about mental health resources, people feel like, oh, it's about going in for therapy. No, it's, for example, what you just said, going in for using resources, listening to the right set of people, it
yeah,
helps your psychological experience and help redefine your mindset and
yeah.
help you to make choices differently. It gets into your
That's right.
subconscious because your subconscious doesn't know the difference between wrong or right. That's why you have to be careful what you listen to, because it sits in there and one day you just see it come and you're like, I
Very
did not
true.
want to do that. Where is it coming from? That's because your
Very true.
subconscious doesn't know right or wrong, right?
Very true.
So that's why you must be very intentional about what you listen to. While you're talking, I remember the line of thought I wanted to say. That's because you said something in line with that,
Yeah.
defining for you what the right thing is.
Yeah.
For yourself, being convicted about your own decisions. And that's why in the practices of what we do, I always tell our clients and the people that we support that, look, in a world where there is a lot of chaos, where there's a lot of information, you've got to define for yourself what success means. You've got to
Yeah.
define for yourself what it would look like to be successful as a husband, as a father, as a career person. You've got to define for yourself. And that definition comes from the place of your value system. Your value system is going to to kind of guide that decision. For
Yeah.
example, if
Very
you
true.
if you if you value rejuvenating, like getting yourself back, you would invest a lot in self-care. You will not burn out by investing so much in doing so much that you will not realize when you can begin to take a rest or say no. You set boundaries, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can now, it is from the place of your values that you can now set those decisions and set those, you can now streamline and say, okay, this is where I am going, and so this is what I'm going to consume, this is what I'm not going to consume. If I'm consuming this thing, I know why. So setting that tone for yourself based on your values.
Yeah.
We know the people that behave in a certain way based on their values. We know that their value
Very true.
system is not family oriented. We know that their value system is not morality. We know that their value system is probably not education. Because if
Yeah.
you value education, you want to keep learning. Education doesn't mean that you have to go to the forefront of school. You know that
That's right.
if you value communication in your relationship, you talk about everything. If you value humans, if you value humans, and because value system is broad, you know that, oh, I
Okay.
don't have to maltreat the person that I'm in a relationship with. I think that's where I'm going to draw this curtain today. And I just wanted to, I'm glad I remembered that line of thought about
Yeah.
setting the tone for yourself in a world that is very noisy. We've talked a lot about, I mean, if I gave you time, if I even give me
Um,
time, me if I even have anything to say, it's just that I wanted to listen. And we've talked a
mm,
lot, we've touched on a lot of things. Maybe we'll come back. I like to really bring you back. When I finish sharing
yeah.
this
Thank you.
this
Thank you.
video, I might cut it into like 4 different parts. When I finish, maybe 5, because it's up to 50 minutes. I'm not sure I want to share. I want to give them small, small, so that it
Yeah.
doesn't overwhelm anybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Oteme, for just giving me almost an hour of your time. I'm
Thank you.
really
Thank you.
grateful.
Thank
And
you.
if you have any last words, we're open to hearing it. And then 1 minute, we'll cut it short.
Okay. I'm just going to say that these conversations we should keep having them. We should proliferate the social media space. We should we should infiltrate it because
Yeah,
marriages and relationships are failing. Our young boys
definitely.
are not leading.
Yeah.
Our young girls do not know what to look out for.
Mm,
We must keep saying these things
mm.
until it sinks because the emphasis now is on money, money, money. The
Yeah.
emphasis with which people
Preach.
go into a relationship is wrong. They do not know what to look out for, why they should be in a relationship with someone. So I thank you
Mm,
for this platform you are creating. I
mm.
thank you for the work you're doing. Um, hopefully we'll get a lot of people who do this so that by the time they put on their phones and log into their social media space, they're
That's what
hearing
they're
these
saying.
things because it will help us. Some of the abuse that we see in relationships and in marriages could have been avoided if people knew how to behave, if
Yeah.
people knew the right things to do. It will reduce a lot. Many of them will be avoided. Thank you so
Mm.
much. I am happy to be here.
Thank you.
I am grateful for your time, for the opportunity to speak on your platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I hope you have a good evening. Go for your daughter. I hope I didn't take
Thank
so
you.
much time.